What a difference a day makes. I know this song is What a Difference a Day Makes because I think that's how the disco version went back there in the 70s. That's the first time I heard this song. What a difference a day makes. But Patreon subscribers asked me to, go over it a little bit. And I'm going to cover it, in a fairly simple way, just go over the chords. But I'm also going to relate kind of a new concept, a new way of thinking about something that happens in so many songs, not only jazz songs, but in the blues as well. And I don't want to make you wait for that in case that's the only thing you're interested in. What it is, we're in the key of E flat here. A very typical place to find a diminished chord is on your way from the 3 chord down to the 2 chord. And I believe that's what happens in this song. And it's just a way of thinking about what can I improvise? How can I improvise over this chord? There's the Barry Harris method of the different triads, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to think of them just a little bit different. And I don't think anybody has put up a video that explains this concept in this way. It's a new way for me, and it's kind of working. I've been trying to think of it this way myself, and it kind of works. So... And, my concept simply is, there are 4 triads that can go with that. According to Barry Harris, there are 4 triads, and they're minor thirds apart. The 4 triads would be D, B, A flat, and F. All right? Not only that, there are 4 7th chords. It would be the same triads with 7ths. The thing I'm going to do that's different, it's just going to be the way to think about them, okay? All right, let's go over the song. Skip ahead about 5 minutes if you want to pick up on this discussion. So, NC means no frickin' chord, so... All right. Berklee College of Music would be down here. That sounds all right. The lower you get, the less you want to use, intervals down here in the left hand, so put it up like that if you like. And B flat suspended. This is going to be a 2-5-1, right? F, B flat, E flat. So if you want the suspended chord, just change the bass note. And right here where it says B flat 7th, it's still suspended until you add that D in there. And there's an A flat there, but you don't really have to play it. But it's nice. Here's that diminished chord. You could always approach from a half step above. Don't need the suspension there, really, because the melody note here, could be just regular B flat 7th. And, you can do stuff like, use... What is that? The flat 5, the 5, flat 13. Kind of have that inner motion. One thing about this song is the melody is not very adventurous, as you'll see coming up. All right. It didn't take a genius to write that melody. I listened to a few other versions too. I listened to Jamie Cullum. But in some of the more modern versions, they don't change chords as often. You would think maybe they would reharmonize and add a bunch of chords, but no, keep it kind of simple. Like right up there where it says, where there used to be rain, just stay on the E flat. My yesterday was blue, dear. And right there, I'm not flatting the 5. I'm just playing a minor 7th with the 9 and the 11. And then going to G. All right. We got that C minor 11 there because of the melody note. And you could certainly make this simpler. You could just go right to the F7th. And then F minor and a quick right, so there, I just stayed on the E flat right till I got to the diminished chord. Could stay on a major seventh there, I think. All right, and this is very typical progression from the 4 chord to the flat 7 chord, and this is kind of negative harmony. When you go from this chord right here to the E flat, think about what that is. That's like that minor 7, flat 5. If you take a B flat 7th chord and use negative harmony, you have to switch these 2 notes around like this, and then you get that negative harmony. If you put a D flat down there, it becomes D flat 9, and that moves you right to the 1 chord. And here's that diminished chord that I'm going to be talking about in just a minute. Going a half step above that dominant chord and then coming down. All right, so diminished chord. It happens frequently between the 3 chord and the 2 chord. If you're moving from the 3 chord right down to the 2 chord, all right, happens a lot there. Also happens from the 4 chord going up to the 1 chord, all right, with the 5 on the bass there, but all right, happens like that in the blues a lot, actually. And in both of these situations, it's the same diminished chord, right? Just an inversion of the same diminished chord. So you can think of this concept in both of those spots, but I'm going to talk about going from the 3 to the flat 3 diminished right here. Okay, so here's the concept. Think of the key that you're in. E flat. Go down a half step and then build either a triad or a 6th chord or a 7th chord, and then use those notes in your improvisation, all right? And that's just the first way. There's 3 other ways here that we can do this. So if I'm improvising, that was using the D triad. Now I'm going to use a D 7th this time. All right, I'm going to do that again. All right, now this time I'm going to use D 6th. So all you have to do really is, just remember what key you're in. You should always remember what key you're in, no matter what chord you're on in the song, unless it just is going way far away from the key center. But like, for instance, on this 3 chord here, you definitely want to think about E flat, because that's the good scale to use there. And there I used a D 7th there. Okay, now what are the other ones you can use? Well, they're, a minor third away, so B is probably the hardest one to think of, because what is it in relation to E flat? It's like the flat 6 or the sharp 5 of the key, So that's a hard one to kind of think of this way. But I don't know if you think about what the dominant chord is, right? It's a dominant chord. It would be built on a B flat. Just go up a whole half a step and use the triad, use the 7th, use the 6th, right? Or use it along with the D, There I used a little bit of 2 different triads, the D triad and the B triad. All right, now another easy one to think of is use the 4 chord. And the 4 chord in E flat is A flat, right? A flat, so. All right, I used a 7th chord too, A flat 7th. I could use A flat 6th. Let's see, what is that? Oh. Now it's tempting, to switch into the pentatonic scale. And, that would sound okay too, but the B flat does not technically fit the chord. But that's okay, That kind of stuff happens in jazz all the time. So, go ahead and use it if you like. All right, but just thinking about an A flat triad mostly. Sixth that time in there too, which you're going to F minor. It's an F minor seventh, really. You can think of it the same way. And that's why it's maybe a little bit less interesting harmonically, because you're playing an A flat sixth chord, which is an F minor seventh, and you're going to F minor seventh. All right, what's the other one? Going to be a D. All right. Oh, we did D already. B. That's going to be F. Yeah, F major though. Yeah. So think about the 2 chord in the key of E flat as you go to that diminished chord. I see. Minor works too, but so probably my favorite is the D major, just a half step below. And thinking about another song that's got a diminished chord in it. I'm in the key of B flat, so I want to think about that A triad. All right, I'm going to think about the 4 chord. The other one that really is cool is that flat 6. So it's hard to think of maybe in this key. Maybe this isn't the best way to go about it, but. The flat 6 of B flat. You just got to think about the dominant chord, which is F, so go up a half step, and that would be F sharp. And, this stuff works, not just for, your lines and everything, but for building chords, too. That F sharp triad works very nice. A triad fits great in the song, by the way. Using the major of the 2 chord that you're going to go to, and then just change it to a minor, though it's not too strong of a progression. It still works. And real quickly, let's take a look at it. In the other position, like let's go to the key of F now. I just did a little thing about a F blues. Should be up here fairly recent, one of my more recent videos, or maybe I haven't put it up yet, but it'll be up soon, whatever. In F, you see you have that diminished chord going up to the F from the 4 chord to the diminished chord. And it's you can treat this exactly the same way now. And then up to F. So I'm going to think about that E triad, right? Half step below F. All right. Did you hear it? Did it work in your ears? Was it okay? The F wasn't part of the triad, but I used it anyway. I used the 4 chord. I could go like this. right, we're on the 4 chord just previously, so that might not be the strongest one. Let's go to the 2 chord. Yeah, G. And like I say, you can use the 7th, you can use the 6th, or just the triad. Oh no, I should use G. What's another one we could use? Let's try that crazy one, the one that's on the flat. It would be like a D flat, wouldn't it? Oh, key F, right? So it would be a D flat chord. Yeah, so I used a D flat 6th. Use a 7th. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that D flat sounds great. And you know, once you've done it this way a few times, you just start to remember what the triads are. You don't even really think, well, it's the flat 6 or whatever. You just kind of remember, oh yeah, that D flat triad will work good. Over and out. See you next time. Thanks, everybody.